I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hi, everyone. It's Kelsey Meyer. I am flying solo tonight for this lovely episode of I'm Not Okay With This, and we are talking about episode 5, which is called Another Day in Paradise. What a good episode. What a good one. We're getting closer and closer to this finale, which I am getting even more excited about. You know it's going to be big. You know it's going to be wild. So let's dive in. This episode, it starts out with a little quiz action, right? So Brad is cheating off of Dina's quiz, and the teacher, who has the horrible chem teacher with his horrible haircut, gets upset. He sees that Brad's cheating off of Dina, and he gives them both detention, right? So then you have Sydney, who you can just see her getting pissed. She's like, I'm going to stand up for Dina. And she fires off and she's like, you know what? No, Dina's been studying for this test. That's not fair that she gets detention because Brad cheated off her. And then Sid gets detention, right? And now you have Stanley, who he's trying to get into detention with Sid, and he throws his stuff off the desk and he gets detention as well. So you have the 4 of them now going to detention. Cut to the scene. They're all in detention. It's a very Breakfast Club sort of esque vibe, right? You have the 4 of them, Brad, Dina, Stanley, and Sid. And then you have Jenny, who we meet at the party in the previous couple episodes, right? Jenny's like the tough girl who they were all questioning if she had gotten back from prison. And she clearly is a little, she's the tough girl. She's the edgy girl, right? And so they're all in detention. And Jenny wants to play, excuse my language, but I'll say F, marry, kill, right? So she wants to play this game, and she's like poking at all of them. And she says to Sydney that Sydney isn't like effable, right? So then this makes Sydney super mad, pisses Stanley off. Now Sydney's like starts to bubble up with rage, and she storms off, and Stanley follows her. And Sydney goes, oh, and I'm sorry, you guys, before this, Brad tries to make a truce with Sydney, right? So when they first walk into the auditorium and they're waiting for the teacher to come and all of them to kind of congregate for their detention, it's just Brad and it's Sid there. And Brad goes and sits by her and he's like, we need to have a truce. Let's have a truce for Dina. Oh, and you hate Brad. I hate Brad. I've told you guys how much I hate Brad. And this just makes you hate Brad even more. It's like, oh, we're going to have a truce for Dina and we're going to do this for Dina. And he's just the slimiest, most horrible person. He's not honest. He's not truthful. Nothing is genuine about him. And you just hate him and you feel badly for Sydney, right? You're like, ugh, you're gross and slimy. But she says yes. So then the whole Jenny scene happens. Sid storms off mad because Jenny says she's uneffable, right? That no one wants to have sex with her. And she runs off. You see her run off. And the next thing you see is Sydney kind of yelling at Stan, like, Stan, come here, Stan, come here. And Stan's pissed because Sydney's just Sydney told him a couple minutes prior, like, oh no, we're not talking. I'm not talking to you. I'm still pissed at you, right? She gets Stan to come and you see the scene of how she has demolished the library. And you didn't really see what happened before that. You just see all the bookshelves, all the books have flown everywhere. Everything's done, or everything's down on the ground, right? And clearly it's because Sydney got angry. And then they have this whole scene. This is a great scene. They back up. Sydney isn't worried about the library, right? Because Stan's like, oh crap, what are we going to do? How are we going to get this back together? Sydney's not worried about the library. She's worried about the security camera would show everything, would show her powers, would show all of this. So she and Stan go and get Dina, and they devise this plan where they are going to steal the security footage. And I loved this scene. For me, this scene was very, like I said before, kind of very Breakfast Club-esque. And you have these three friends who are all kind of, they're there and they're in it for Sid. And they're showing how much they care about her. I mean, they've lied to Dina and told Dina, right, that it was that Stan and Sid had sex in the library, which is why they had to steal the security footage. Stan knows it's because of Sydney's powers. But I mean, regardless, it's really cool and it's really sweet how the three of them kind of come together, and especially Dean and Stan come together for Sydney. So this is a funny scene. Stan has a burrito bomb go off in the microwave to distract the principal, and then they go to the principal's office and they end up stealing the footage. And you have oh, this next scene. This next scene killed me. So they're all happy, successful. Yay, we got the footage. And then Sid walks in on Bradley, who we hate, and Jenny, tough girl Jenny, chatting in the bathroom, right? And she overhears Jenny say to Brad how they hooked up at the party a couple episodes ago. And you're just like, oh, okay, shocker. I mean, I wasn't surprised. Brad sucks. Brad's awful. You knew that, like, that's the type of guy Brad is, and he was. So, I mean, you're pissed. I was pissed. I felt badly for Dina, of course. It puts Sydney in an extremely awkward position. But you're just like, oh, shocker, Brad. Like, one more thing to pile on to the fact that you already suck. And Sydney's in this awkward situation, right? And Brad looks at her and he's like, hey, we just had this truce. We came up with this truce, whatever it was, hour or so ago at the beginning of detention. Like, you can't say anything, nothing to Dina. Like, we're saving Dina from you not saying anything. And in walks Dina. Oh, and you're just on fire. You're like, what's Sydney gonna do? Of course she's gonna tell her, but you don't know. I mean, you questioned it for a second, but she tells her. She tells her, and Dina storms off. You see how pissed Bradley gets, and you're just like, yeah, Sid, yeah. But mind you, Bradley's this big, like, strong, powerful person. Powerful in the sense that he's, yes, like, bigger and stronger than her, but also he has a lot of pull at the high school, and he's popular and all this stuff. So you know that he's gonna make Sydney's life a living hell if he hasn't already, which he has. She doesn't like him. She doesn't like that he's dating her best friend, right? But you're just like, ooh, this is not gonna go well. So that happens. And then we have Sid and Stan getting back in Stan's car after detention's over. And they're talking about the security footage they stole. They're like, whew, glad we did that. That was crazy. Can't believe that happened. Can't believe we were successful. And it's kind of a cute moment between the two of them. So, oh, that's right. And in the car, you guys, sorry, the car, Sid told Stan that she felt, again, like she wasn't alone. She had mentioned that she felt like someone was following her. And we ended off last episode seeing that figure, that like kind of hooded figure, whatever it was, a Grim Reaper sort of vibe, that he was in the street and then he vanished. So she is telling him that she felt like she was being followed in the library, and that's kind of what sparked her powers that came on when she was there and made all the bookshelves fall. She's like, I wasn't alone. That wasn't just me. So that's kind of eerie. You're like, ooh, this is exciting. We're going to find out more about this man, this figure who we all were curious in the last episode. Who is this? And you know it's going to be a big part of these next couple of episodes, and especially the finale. So I think that this episode for me, I mean, it keeps adding on, right? It keeps piling on. You hate Brad. Sydney hates Brad. I mean, they have this really interesting relationship that, yes, she doesn't like him because he's kind of taken her best friend away. But she also doesn't like him because he's just a bad person. And you keep learning more and more and more about how much of just a bad person he is. And you're like, ooh, I don't know. Something's there. It's like there's some crazy friction. She's already made his nose bleed, right? She's already and she just has this deep seating anger for him. So I don't know. That it keeps adding on, right? And then oh, yes. And then Sid and Stan's relationship's growing even more. It's Stan's obviously cares for her. He obviously, I mean, I think it's obvious that he likes her more than she likes him, but he keeps doing things like standing up for her when Jenny says that no one likes her, no one would want to have sex with her, helping her steal this tape, now driving her home, wanting to like chat about what happened and what they're going to do about it. So this episode to me was just some more character development and relationship developments. I mean, you're seeing what's going on with all of them, and you're just curious how it's going to pan out in the next episode. Now, Dina's obviously pissed at Brad. Hopefully she doesn't get back together with him, but you don't know that. I don't think she will. I think she'll now kind of see what everyone else sees, and okay, not everyone else, but that what Sydney sees in the sense that Brad sucks. I hope that she realizes that now and will kind of move on, but you don't know. The next episode, she may surprise you and she may get back together with Brad, which will piss Sydney off. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think she will, but we'll see. We'll see. Oh my gosh, Div. Oh, I can't hear you. This is exciting. Oh, you're muted. Everyone, hold on. Div, we need to hear your thoughts. Amazing. Well, hi. Oh, he's trying to connect. Anyways, you guys, this episode was wild. I'm excited for the next episode. I love that the title was Another Day in Paradise, because it's just like, again, it's what I said. It's we're finding out more and more and more and more and more and more is piling on to these relationships, and it's almost just snowballing. Like something big is going to happen. You just don't know what it is. And I loved it. I loved it. I hope that you will stick around with me for the next episode. Hopefully we get Div on here. I think he's coming in. It's going to be great. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for staying and sticking with me on my little one-man show. I hope that you stick around with me for episode 6 and we can chat further. Thank you.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.